You're listening to Evolving Moons podcast with Jess and Katie.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Evolving Moons, Jess and Katie.
Hi, everyone.
Hitting you
Welcome
with
back.
another episode.
Yeah, we're excited for this episode.
Yeah, this one's kind of cute.
We've hit like a lot of major topics, So
Yeah.
now we're getting into more things that are super specific, but also fun to talk about and learn about.
Yeah.
But like you get deep,
Okay.
I actually was just told that it makes it that someone who watches this said that the conversations we have make them think.
That we're deep.
Sure. Yeah.
I like that.
Okay, anyways, today
We're talking about empathy.
yeah, we decided on the topic of empathy.
Okay, wait. I have a cute empathy definition because we like to
Go for
define
it.
our empathy, and I think this works well. Okay. Empathy is the ability to step into the shoes of another person, aiming to understand their feelings and perspectives. And you will use that to understand and guide your actions.
That's nice.
That's nice, yeah. Very straightforward, I feel
Yeah.
like.
And it can be hard to have empathy.
Yeah.
It can.
Also, you can like think that you're being empathetic, but then you're really not.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm. I'm gonna go into my reading. I used my tarot deck. Love this deck. It's so pretty. But also, I feel like it takes a lot out of you.
yeah.
Tarot is like you really gotta like be in it.
Yeah.
You can't just like pull tarot cards
Yeah.
willy nilly. I had to work my way up to a tarot card. Anyways, I pulled the Four of Pentacles. Traditionally, the Four of Pentacles is a finance money card, basically saying that you need to either save or redistribute your wealth in a better way for yourself. But tarot cards can also have lots of deeper meanings and like in different perspectives. And so another meaning for this is that you are being selfish with your personal resources, with your time, with your energy. You're being selfish in some way. And this card is coming into your life because it's telling you that you need to rethink the way you are using them in your life.
Yeah. So, like that goes along with empathy because
Mhm.
it's like you probably aren't putting your resources in places other than yourself very frequently if you're not empathetic.
Yeah.
And you don't have empathy.
Did I mention that I asked like how can we better cultivate empathy? I don't think I did.
I don't think you did. That was the question.
That was the question. So maybe that will make more sense.
Yeah.
But so yeah, basically this card is saying like you need to make changes in yourself in order to better like the outcome almost.
Yeah.
And however that comes out in different, like I said, it can be very vague. So like your resources can be
A lot of things.
different things, like your time, your energy, your emotions.
Yeah, your compassion, your love, your everything.
Yeah. So that was an interesting card. Very like deep almost, like it makes you think pulling it. Like as I was reading about it, I had to think about it.
Yeah.
That's part of tarot reading is being able to read what a card could mean when you're asking a certain question.
Yeah. Instead of just taking it super literally.
Yeah, which is why people like really study it for years to really be able to fully like do readings on people.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Empathy has such a big kind of meaning to it, I think.
Yeah.
There's many different kinds of empathy. One, of course, there's like individual empathy towards an individual person.
I feel like that's the one that people like most commonly know empathy as.
You when you empathize with a person.
Yeah.
That's like a common saying that you hear, right? But what does that even mean?
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna tell you. No. I don't know. When I think of like empathizing with a person, I think about like the definition that we just shared.
Yeah.
You're able to put yourself in their shoes and understand what they're going through, right?
Yeah. Even if it's not happening to you, like why empathy is important, and the cool thing about it is that you learn how to understand situations that are not your own. So it's like if somebody's going through something and you're being empathetic towards their situation, you can almost feel what they're feeling and feel
Mhm.
those emotions how you would feel them if you were in that position, even if you've never been in a similar situation.
Yeah, yeah. And I think, that's where truly caring about someone really comes in. You
Yeah.
can't you can be like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. That sucks," but and say that. But unless you're actually truly empathetic towards that person, will you actually be able to truly care
Yeah.
about them?
Yeah. Like when you went through your breakup, like I feel like I cried with you. Like
Really
I feel
nice.
like we like had this experience of like I was so sad and I was not
Yeah.
going through a breakup. Like
Everyone was kind of shook.
yeah. But I mean, like I have that empathy for you. I could put myself there and like yeah, I had been cheated on before, so I feel like I feel like you're better able to have empathy if you have experienced similar situations.
Mhm.
But I think it's most powerful when you're able to have it for others when you have not
Yeah,
experienced a situation.
regardless of the situation,
Hmm.
being able to cultivate empathy in your life
Yeah, yeah.
is it's a life skill.
It is. It is. It totally is.
And actually that lets me go into I am going to be a teacher and a history teacher, and one of the things that history teachers do, and it's literally now a California standard, is being able to teach our students how to cultivate empathy
That's so cool.
in those situations. So
Like
it's
in
literally,
historic situations.
well, yeah, for it's like being able to cultivate empathy towards people, but I'm literally teaching a life skill
Yeah.
to my students.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
that's kind of cool.
I think that that's so awesome that that's being taught now because
Mhm.
my parents actually just had this conversation the other day. It was like my dad was reading my mom this article about this girl that went to Florida State or whatever college she went to in Florida. And she wrote this article about like it was like the contrasting opinion of like most of us think that I don't know, like our world sucks and like we won't see like prosperity in our lives and like things like that, like
Mhm.
just our general like millennial opinion.
Okay.
And she had the opposite opinion. And then my dad was asking my mom like if she agreed with the article or not. And my mom said that it is difficult to teach people things that they have not experienced.
Mhm.
And like in the article, the girl was talking about how like maybe we are privileged because we never had to experience things like the Great Depression or World War II or things that like we don't know a life without cars, like
Yeah.
all of these things, and so it would be difficult for us to understand what that would be like. But I think, and like to my mom's point, that is difficult to teach, but it's so important to teach,
Oh yeah, yeah.
and I
Being
think
able
that
to
that's
teach something
awesome.
that's
That
outside
that's
of your world of knowledge.
right, right. Like you're right. We did not experience going through the Great Depression, but in history classes,
Mhm.
you teach very in depth about it. And then if you're able to ask your students, like, if you had to live like this, how would you feel?
Mhm.
And make them really think about that. That's super cool that
Yeah.
you're teaching that
And
now.
it's also, I mean, it gets the my one of my issue well, not issues, one of my challenges as a teacher is teaching it for things that are a little deeper than
Yeah,
the Great Depression.
yeah,
Like slavery.
yeah.
That's like a
Segregation.
huge one.
Yeah,
And it's like, yeah, we don't know what that looks like. I mean, we've read about it, we've seen footage from it or
hmm,
whatever, but how can we truly understand and learn from what has happened or like what we
right.
did as a country without having that empathy?
Yeah,
And that's where teaching it to students comes in, which is really nice.
yeah, yeah. Anything like that, like especially that whole slavery, but then like after slavery was kind of
Yeah.
eradicated, but I mean they still had like
Well, it goes
Three
for
Fifths Compromise and the Jim
yeah,
Crow
yeah.
laws and like all of that
Well,
whole
yeah, all
time
throughout
period.
history, and it's not just in here in America. It's like
Yeah,
all
everywhere.
different kinds of
Later on
situations.
in life, even in America, we had like the Japanese internment camps, like stuff
Yeah.
like that. It's super
Mhm.
cool to be able to teach those, not just in a like, here's a fact that happened, but like
Mhm.
let's think about how those people felt because that's
Yeah.
super important.
It also goes both ways though too, like being able to empathize with like both sides of stories too. Like
Yeah, that's
to
interesting.
truly understand why things happened.
Hmm.
Not because like we should
Whether
feel
it's right
sorry
or
for
wrong.
whoever's yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
but
It's to
like,
truly it's more of like to having a full understanding
yeah,
of the story, which is a huge history point, but I think it also applies to life because how can you truly understand something that's going on without getting all the sides of the stories and
yeah.
being able to empathize with both, even if you agree or disagree with it.
I think that's a really hard thing in life, like especially right now with like our political climate in life,
Mm-hmm.
for people to be empathetic towards both sides rather than just be empathetic to their side.
Yeah.
That's really cool that that's being taught. That makes me like hopeful. I don't know.
Yeah,
That's very positive.
history's getting way deeper than it used to be. That's for
That's
sure.
a really positive thing.
Yeah, and that kind of empathy would be considered like collective empathy, being able to empathize with entire groups or communities or
A
whatever.
race.
Yeah,
Or
or race.
rather
yeah,
than just a specific human.
Yeah, not just an individual, but a collective of
Of
people.
anything. Yeah.
Yeah, people, any kind of category in that.
Yeah.
The next kind of empathy is a little more out there maybe for some people, but I think it's still super important is being able to empathize with like the earth, the world.
Yeah.
And that kind of goes into, like nature. Not only do you empathize with it, maybe bad things are happening yet, like we are going through climate change and there's a whole bunch of different things.
All the natural disasters.
Yeah, natural disasters. But it also just comes down to like being able to connect with the earth, which is a big deal. A lot of people kind of thrive off of that. And like for me, an example would be like I feel, at my best moments is like when I'm laying on the beach all day and I've been like just energized by the sun.
Yeah, hell yeah.
I'm like a plant. Like photosynthesis. It's just like the sun makes me so happy. And that's why like a lot of people don't like summer. I love summer.
Yeah.
Because the sun and like the warmth makes me feel so happy, and like I love having my feet in the sand and like in the ocean. Like I feel super connected when I'm in the ocean.
Yeah.
Which is like, so it's not like super big things. It's not like I'm fucking sitting out there talking to the ocean or to the sand or to the sun. But I mean
if that
maybe
floats
I do.
your boat, then yeah.
But it's just like being able to appreciate the world around us.
Yeah.
And once you can do that is when you can kind of empathize with when something bad happens.
Yeah. And I feel like that's important because if you don't care about the earth, then you destroy the earth, like people that don't have empathy towards the earth are also those people that own the companies that like dump fucking oil and trash into the ocean.
Yeah.
It's like
they're
need
to
to have empathy towards your home, like we live here and we love this planet, but it's like, do we really love this planet? We're not being very empathetic to it most of the time.
Yeah, and I guess like an example is like, oh, like how do I empathize with the earth? Well, like, would you want someone to throw a bunch of oil on your fucking house?
Right. Or in your swimming pool, like if you have a pool.
If you have a pool, we dump a bunch of oil
do you
in
want
there.
trash to
fill
fill the
be
pool,
like
or
upset about it, or are you gonna be like, oh, it's fine.
Right.
It's only a little bit of oil.
Yeah, it's fine. It'll be fine. Like, yeah, do you want somebody to fucking like fill your whole home with smoke and pollution? It's like that's what we're doing every time we build those nasty ass factories.
Or like if your house were to burn down. It's like when there's forests burning and you feel like you don't really care about it or whatever, and
because it's not happening to you. And it's like, well, what if it was your home? The earth, that's all that the earth has, and the animals that inhabit the earth are part of the earth when we're talking about this.
Part of that is like being able to empathize with animals too, which is like very super specific, but it's a true
but
thing.
Also important. I mean, people fucking eat animals, people skin animals, people abuse animals.
I mean, I am in no way a vegan, but I'm also like not super into
animal abuse.
Yeah. So
no one should be into animal abuse. Fuck you if you're into animal abuse.
Yeah. Fuck that.
All right, so we haven't really done this before, but we're going to read an article live with like while we're recording this and just kind of react naturally. It's about empathy. It is called A Year of Living Better, How to Be More Empathetic, posted by the New York Times, written by Claire Kane Miller. Practicing empathy.
Yes, Claire.
Okay, her first point that she wants you to try is talk to new people. Try to imagine how someone else feels is often not enough. The solution is simple. Core empathy is curiosity, she says. What is another person's life actually like? And you can do it by talking to strangers, going on a walk, and just asking people like what their daily life is like, how is it going. Follow more people on social media with different backgrounds than you and like have discussions. And put away your phone when you're having conversations.
Ooh, I like that one.
In order to listen more, and then you notice people's facial expressions and gestures. So I think that is really cool, talking to people that are different from you, because I don't know if it's like a natural thing that we do, but I think people, I think it is natural, gravitate more towards people that are like them because they're
Oh
easier to
yeah,
understand,
yeah,
you know? But that's a really cool point. Like, if you want to be more empathetic, talk to somebody that's totally different from you, whether it's like different personality or different lifestyle, like talk to somebody that lives in a different country, or talk to somebody of a different race, or talk to somebody of a different religious background,
or different political views,
different political
social. Well, I
views.
mean,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's fine. Yeah, all of that. We love that. That's a cool one.
yeah, that's a good one. I think it like is important to do that when you're trying to connect with people more.
Yeah, yeah,
Like have a true, better human connection.
yeah,
It also might put you out of your comfort zone, especially not hiding behind a
yeah, yeah.
phone.
Also, like being an active listener, I feel like, or like
Such a good,
something that
yeah.
we often do, like we were talking about this a little bit before we started recording, but something that people often do is like relate something that someone is saying to themselves, where instead, if you're being more empathetic, you can just further ask questions about that person.
Yeah.
Like if somebody's going through something and they're talking to you about it, instead of reacting with like, oh, that's a shitty situation, I'm sorry about that, if I were in that situation I would do this. Like, I feel like we always want to offer advice because we're trying to help, and
We
that's
all
not a
and
bad
also
thing.
we all secretly like talking about ourselves.
Yeah, that's also true. But instead, if you're trying to be more empathetic, just be like, oh, well, how does that make you feel? Or what do you think you're going to do about this? Or, other things like, have you thought more about this? Or,
Yeah.
whatever. Just ask more probing questions about the person rather than offering something about yourself.
Yeah. It makes for better conversation just
It
overall
does,
too.
yeah. And then you'll find out things about that person that you didn't know, which is also really cool. It helps you, yeah, form those deeper connections. All right, so her next one is try out someone else's lifestyle. So, more than just talking to somebody, but literally stand in their shoes, attend someone else's church or place of worship for a few weeks, spend time in a new neighborhood, strike up a conversation with a homeless person in your community. If someone's behavior is bothersome to you, think about why. If you're a teenager, talk to somebody that's much older. If you're somebody that's much older, spend a lot of time with somebody that's younger and do things that they're doing. That's kind of cool. I like that. I feel like
That's a
that's
good
a
one.
really intense way to be more empathetic.
Yeah. That reminds me of what's that show? That show where it's like the CEO they go and be like one of their employees for like
Oh,
a whole.
undercover boss. Yeah, yeah, or
Yeah.
like the
That's like live
the
action
moms that
empathy.
switch.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
those are cool. Yeah.
Literally like I mean that's a little extreme,
Yeah, yeah.
but that idea of putting yourself physically
Yeah.
in a new
Actually living how they
situation.
live. I watch 90 Day Fiance,
Okay.
and I think I've mentioned this before. I love that show. But there's a girl on it right now, and she's from America, and she's African American, and her partner lives in Jordan, and he practices Islam. And she is in Jordan trying to live with him and his family and stuff. And so something that she's been doing is going to like his, I don't know if it's a church, but his place of worship with him and trying to learn about Islam and like study the teachings of Islam. And that's so something that's like very probably strange for her and like not something that she would ever normally do here,
Yeah.
but she's doing that there. And I think that that's really cool. I think it's so important to do that when you're traveling too. I think um, a lot of things I've heard about Americans traveling is that they try to be like still so American. Like we still wear what we would normally wear instead of wearing like what is considered traditional or respectful for that country. And I think it's cool to do that. It's cool
Yeah.
to like fully immerse yourself in somebody else's way of living, especially while you're there.
Yeah.
Or
I think it's much better to experience a place
yeah,
as
as they would.
as they would versus like tourist shit.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes you want to go do the tourist things
Of,
because
of
they're
course, still
popular
do those
or like
things, but
yeah.
like it's also just another form of respect, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Or like try and learn a couple words in their language or say a few things, and go to somewhere that they would go or
Yeah.
ask around, talk to the people, like genuinely talk to them. I think that's
Yeah.
cool.
It's definitely like outside your comfort zone too, which is nice.
Yeah, yeah. Which is also really important. I feel like you learn the most when you're not in your comfort zone because you're
Yeah.
paying the most
Oh,
attention. Maybe you're like
totally.
kind of on edge. So
Well,
that's
also
kind of
it's
cool.
just like you're learning.
Yeah, it's something new.
You're not going to learn if you're not outside your comfort zone.
Right. All right. We'll go into our next one. Join forces for a shared cause. Working on a project with other people reinforces everyone's individual expertise and humanity and minimizes the differences that can divide people. So, work on a community garden, do political organizing, join a church committee. If you've experienced grief or loss, join with others who have experienced something similar.
That kind of goes into like being able to empathize with the collective.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And like to spend your time doing that, like going back to our card is like maybe we wouldn't normally do that, although we can feel empathetic for a whole community. Maybe we're not going to take our time and go spend it with the community.
Yeah.
But I think what
You have to better redistribute your resources, your personal resources.
Yeah. Okay. Admit you're biased. I like this. We're all biased.
Shit.
Acknowledging that is the first step. The second step is taking action to overcome it. So, yeah,
It's kind of like a own your shit.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah. So she said, I came to researching and writing this piece with my own experiences, privileges, and biases. That's pretty cool. Like, I think that that's true. Whether or not we want to admit it, all of us have some like preconceived ideas or like, biases or even prejudices that we don't necessarily want to admit that we have or maybe aren't even knowledgeable of.
Yeah.
And I think that something that empathy does is help you totally break down all of that.
Yeah.
I feel like it's really
helps
hard.
You become more woke.
Yeah, it's really hard to be biased or be prejudiced or be racist or whatever if you're not empathetic.
You need to be like more self-aware.
Yeah.
That's like step number 1 is becoming self-aware.
Yeah, becoming self-aware, and then once you are self-aware, like being able to understand that other person or that other group, and then you most likely wouldn't feel that way anymore about them.
Hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully. Unless you fucking suck, but
unless you're a dick.
And then she further goes in to say, be honest with yourself, about the biases. So, like, you don't have to go around and tell the whole world about them, but, just acknowledge them internally and try and work on them.
Yes.
Check your privilege is another one.
I've seen that a lot,
Yeah. We all have different identities. Some make us privileged while others do the opposite. So, I mean, yeah, if you, like us, we have privilege, we are part of that group. And although we try and live a non-privileged life, simply because of the color of our skin, we are privileged. It's a fact.
Yeah.
And it sucks. That's really fucking unfortunate and shouldn't be occurring. However, us being able to acknowledge that helps us be more aware, helps us be more empathetic to people that don't have that same privilege.
Yeah.
Also
That's
very important.
Big one.
That's a huge one, honestly.
You have to be able to recognize it before you can truly, I don't want to say like appreciate, that's not the right word, but like
I think it's just being mindful, just knowing that instead of just being like, oh, well, I don't live that way, so I'm not privileged. It's like, no, you are.
Like being able to acknowledge it, and being like, yeah, that is true, but like
it's like, I guess you're agreeing with it. You're agreeing with the fact that you have privilege.
Yeah.
Even if you don't want to, or it just is a fact. It's not like a and then okay, so then she goes into talking about like what you should do once you're empathetic, and her main one is to stand up for others and take action. So I think that that's pretty cool, like amplify the voices of others once you're empathetic, so once you learn about other people's lifestyles and whatever, especially with the whole privilege thing, if you are able to stand up and use your voice for a good cause or to amplify their voices, that's super awesome. Very important.
It doesn't even have to be necessarily like a specific person's voice. It can just be the idea.
Yeah.
Like being able to amplify new perspectives and new ideas that
totally
come from something that you traditionally wouldn't have experienced.
Right. Or, don't necessarily, I mean, not that you don't agree with it, but just it doesn't really affect you directly, So, just being able to do that for others. Also, we kind of were talking about before we filmed this episode of like if you don't have empathy, what that does for you as a person. And I think it kind of makes you that way. It makes you more biased. It makes you like a worse off person. You're not. You said something like people are more mean.
You're more able to hurt people.
Yeah.
When you don't like practice empathy or you don't have the ability to be empathetic.
And that makes a lot of sense because you're not thinking about if that action were done to you.
Yeah.
When you're doing it, you're just doing it.
Or some people might. I mean, if you are someone who might do this, then you might need to seek out help. But, someone you tell, like, oh, how would you feel if they did this to you? And they're like, I don't fucking care.
Oh God, that's such a big one.
I've literally had people say that to me before, and it's just
Also,
like,
it's like immediately I think of like immigrants. I don't know why, but like some people were like say like the a big argument, is that like, oh well, they should come illegally or come legally or whatever, and they all like a that person's argument would be like, if I was in that situation, I would do it properly, and it's
yeah.
like that is just so like no, you wouldn't.
No,
No, you wouldn't.
not if they denied you for 5 years of your
Right.
life. Like, what the fuck do you do
Not if
then?
you were fleeing for your fucking life and your kid's life was in danger.
Yeah.
Not like we could go on, but
Yeah.
no, you wouldn't. So it's like yeah, that same type of people. That's like, well, I wouldn't care if that were done to me, or like I wouldn't be so sensitive if that were done to me, or like I would handle it this way because I'm so strong and awesome. And it's like, all right,
Yeah,
take
because
a
it's never
fucking
happened to
step
them.
down.
It's never
Yeah.
happened to you, and you don't know. And so that's, I don't know, that's where like ugly people come from. I think
Yes.
ugly on the inside. I mean,
Yes, you need to be able to be empathetic, understand that people's situations are so different. And like, more than just what that situation is, you have to understand what that person is feeling. And that, I think that's really like the deep core of empathy is like, although you can put yourself in a certain situation, you have to allow yourself to feel those same emotions and like live that thought process of that person. And that's where like with the immigrant thing, it's like, yeah, you can understand a situation. Maybe you can try. You can be like, oh, if I were in that situation, I think I would do this. But you don't know that you would do that. And the whole point of being empathetic is like, okay, but that specific individual in that situation feels this way. So you need to understand that feeling too.
yeah. I also think that empathy and gratitude are almost like connected.
Yeah, like a hand in hand type
Like
thing.
you can't fully feel gratitude without first being empathetic.
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
Yeah, just in general, like for anything. It could be you can feel gratitude for some like a specific thing or like even just a feeling.
Yeah. I think like it's like you're grateful for something first, and then you're like, if I didn't have that, I would feel this way, and that's like where the empathy comes in.
It's like a very small version of empathy, but
yeah,
they're also
yeah,
like it's needed.
like that you're grateful for something because you know that not everybody has that thing that you have, or like not everybody gets to do that thing that you're doing, or feel that way that you're feeling, or talk to the person you're talking to, or whatever it may be.
It can be like it could be something
so
small, or it could be something much larger that is just a great feeling to have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I really like that. I think those do go together really well.
Yeah.
Well, I've loved this episode.
This was a good one.
It was really good.
I like when we can have like talks that get super deep.
But also then come back to being like lighthearted. I like that we are able to like unfiltered share our opinions and our thoughts, and
podcasting has been really great.
Yeah,
we get to talk about
it's pretty
stuff,
cool.
And you guys get to maybe listen to us
and hopefully think about these things too. I feel like the things that we talk about are not things that people think about in their everyday lives. Just like day to day, like not many people are just sitting around being like, damn, how could I be more empathetic today?
How can I cultivate empathy today?
Why am I not empathetic? Like what?
Yeah, I like bringing these
and
things
not
up.
like we do either. We have to think about the ideas of our podcast, and we spend time being like, what should we talk about? But yeah, I'm happy that we were able to talk about such cool, interesting topics.
Yeah, we hope that you guys like them too.
Yeah. If you don't, whatever, because we fucking love them.
So. Yeah, if not, fuck you. You don't have any empathy.
We're empathetic towards you not liking us, so we understand.
We've been in your shoes before.
Yeah, we used to hate ourselves too.
Oh man. Anyways, thanks for listening.
Yeah.
Make sure you
like, subscribe, comment, share.
Yeah, if you want.
If you want to. If you don't want to, we understand.
We'll keep making these anyways.
So yeah, it's fine. This is like 16 or 17 now.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool.
That's pretty nice.
Go us.
Go. That's like, that's lots of weeks.
It's a lot of dedication and time that we've put into this.
This actually has been taking more than we thought. And I feel like the first moment was when we were setting all the stuff up for the first time. We didn't realize how much it took.
We were like, oh,
to
we don't
actually
know how to
make
use
a
any of this.
podcast.
And
we were like, shit, what did we get ourselves into?
Yeah.
We like already made the Instagram.
We had no idea.
Before we started making the podcast.
We didn't even have our mixer yet.
We were like, shit, now we got to make a podcast. But it's fine.
Shout out all the podcasters out there, because this shit is not as easy as it seems.
Yeah. Being a creator.
Yeah.
We're creators now.
Yeah, we have empathy for all
creatives.
these fucking creators now that we have been doing it.
All right. Well,
Anywho,
love you.
yeah, have a wonderful rest of your weekend, whenever you're listening to this.
Yeah, have a good life. Whatever.
Yeah, hell yeah. Have the best life.
All right. Okay, bye.
Bye.
Trying to get energetic.
Okay.
Trying to get my energy
Well,
right.
damn, bitch.
Trying to get my energy right.